Who am I? Well, let's just say I'm your typical American kid. If typical means growing up insecure, stuttering through sentences, dodging a critical mom, and watching dad hide in the shadows. High school kicked me out 2 weeks early for leaving campus with my girlfriend. One of these girls is her. And the closest I got to college was throwing a touchdown pass to my buddy in the 5th grade. I was lucky to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. They were great. Learned to use my words to navigate life, just like Grandpa said. Make friends, make money. I experimented, took things apart. Guess I learned the old-fashioned way by just making mistakes. Hey! I've sold wine to grocery stores, driven heavy equipment, caddied on the PGA Tour, was in a band, even went to LA in my early 20s to give acting a shot. Pretty sure I can fly anything with wings. Worked in sales most of my life, got recruited to Wall Street, and one day I even rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a crazy ride. Married for 18 years, married for 18 months, divorced twice, and both of the women are in this picture. And I'll guarantee you, divorce during the Trump years was not fun. Lawfare sucks. But thank goodness I had a woman come to my rescue. And she's in this picture. Maybe it's just me, but I truly believe that humans can accomplish anything if they just try without the fear of failing. Most people stop before they even start. If you believe in leading by example, doing what's right by standing up for those who need the help, but most importantly, if you feel like you have the skills to spot a fraud, then this might be for you. This is a place where action speaks louder than words, where leadership isn't about titles or education. It's about showing up, execution, and understanding that no matter how experienced you are, you always have something to learn. Life's challenges only postpone your dreams. They don't erase them. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance.
We don't need no education.
Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance Daily Show, your daily dose of things you need to know, and probably some things you don't. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. All, probably zero of you. You know, if you would have asked me 10 years ago that I would have launched a podcast, well, I might not even have known what I knew what a podcast was 10 years ago. But if you would have asked me even 5 years ago or 6 years ago, do you think you would ever find yourself in the United States of America, in the country that you were born in the state that you grew up in the town that you love? Do you think you would ever find yourself on the receiving end of a government silencing? I would have said, are you, what? Why the government would want to, keep me quiet? Not let me talk, whatever message I had to deliver on, en masse would be silenced. No freaking way. I don't really know how this happened. I'm still waiting for somebody to put the pieces together on this thing. I have done all my homework, and YouTube, they're doing it to mass amount of people. Nope, you can't be seen. Your videos are on this back channel. And the condescending outreach, the communication from YouTube is so condescending. It's like, you're silencing me. You know that you're not letting my voice out. Explain to me how I had this video go viral, literally go viral, start to go. and just kept going, kept climbing. And then one day it just went whoop, and just turned off, and it went back down to 0. I asked YouTube's customer service team that question. You know what they said? Everything's just fine. Nothing's happened. Gosh, I understand your concern, but really you should just look at this video and determine what you can create that more people are looking for. That was the answer I got multiple times. They didn't even address the question. No addresse el questione. Like I didn't even say it. There is some gaslighting going on right now like we have never seen. Okay. Are we good? You got your seatbelt on? Seatbelt. It's February 25th. We're already through 2 months. 2 months of the year. It is literally, we are almost 1/4 of the way through 2025. That's how fast. And I don't know if it's just the situation I'm in, what I'm dealing with here, being 50 years old, not exactly sure what the deal is, but I do know this. Whatever it is, it sure does make time haul ass. And I guess being 50 now, it puts it into perspective. It puts into perspective how much time there is left. Now that my dad started drinking, oh, I don't know, 3 years ago. Got into a relationship with a pretty toxic lady. I mean, he's a pretty toxic person himself. So I'm not surprised it got to this. She just wanted him to spend all of his money on her. He wanted her to marry him, and she wouldn't do it. So they spent like 3 years, having blowout after blowout after blowout until finally she just couldn't take it anymore and he couldn't take it anymore. And now he's a drinker and he just sits at home and goes to the casino in the mornings, drinks all day, and he'll probably be dead in probably less than a year. It's really sad. I mean, how many other people do you know? Anybody know anybody out there who's like got into a chemical addiction problem during COVID? You probably do. It's probably like 3 out of 5. Easy. I know some people who cleaned up during COVID, who bettered themselves, who put some pieces together in their life. My son, he just turned 20 and he buckled down. High school got blown up, totally blown up. He was a COVID kid. He had high school just kind of like not work. Couldn't do the home thing. Couldn't do the screen. Ended up, just essentially dropping out. Got back into a college program, which is like a restart or a fresh start or something like that. And he's been working at it pretty hard for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And he's essentially being given his associates, and he's applied to Washington State University, and he wants to go off to college. I mean, since nobody's really listening to this, and I'm sure his friends will never listen to this, I think he's going just because, like, kids have no friends these days. They have very few friends. I mean, the friends are like 1, 2. They fight over friends. The friends are, because remember, for how divisive all the adults have been, kids are the same. Kids, you know, you got to think a certain way. You got to, you know, act a certain way. And that's where it's at. Unless you're, you know, part of a good Christian family, go to a good church. And, you know, I chose not to do that. I did. Now I get, you know, all my aunts and uncles and cousins on that side of the family, you know, because that side of the family is the kind of family that they love to just say, oh, I told you so. Told you so. Didn't I tell you that, you know, that was the way it's going to work? Well, yeah, there's no point. My dad was raised in that family, and they raised narcissists. They raised people who, you know, my interpretation of a narcissist is a individual who has not developed their genuine personality. Their ego is the only thing they've learned to put forward out in the world. And their ego is not them. Their ego is a created, molded, reflected way that they are trying to portray themselves as a certain being or as a certain personality. And that's all they know how to do. Kind of only know how to have one conversation. If things get a little bit too, you know, close, or if they get, you know, intimacy is out of the question. No clue how that works. They're the type of people who say, you know, I have no friends. I have no idea why I have no friends. I mean, I'm such a good person. I'm such a good guy. People just don't understand me. That's my dad. Just clueless to everything and anything that's happening around him. And there's more and more people like that because technology has made us a little dumber. It really has. It's taken us outside of, it's pulled us away from people. When I was a kid, you know, into the 90s and even into the early 2000s, you know, before the iPhone came out, I guess, is when it really took off. But when I was a kid, you had to go home and dial. You had to go home and, you know, when I was real little, it was the rotary, and then you know, dialed for dollars, and then 900 numbers came out, and I got restricted from using the phone for a while. But you had to call friends. You had to make friends. You had to make plans at school. You had to get a hold of the parents on the phone and say, hi, is John home? And you had to put stuff together. You had to put yourself out there. You had to put yourself out into the world and communicate and get no's, get yeses, get rejected, it's all practice. It's all practice for what life ends up being. Life is hard. Life is more hard today than it was when we were kids. All I wanted for my kids, all I wanted for them was to live a little easier life than I lived. Not much easier, because I mean, I didn't have a hard life. I just didn't want all the criticism and, you know, the nitpicking and the yelling and the screaming and the alcoholic parents. And, you know, I didn't want that stuff. I just wanted my kids to be encouraged and be positive and confident and like let them do what they want, you know, guide them, give them experiences and show them as much as I can show them, but let them just kind of fall into what it is that excites them. But I wanted to show them as much as I could in order to do that. I wanted to give them the experiences. And it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. I got a job. I got a good job. I did it for 11, 12 years straight, all the way. Like, just really took the opportunity by the horns and did it well. Did it so well, I got invited to ring the opening bell at New York, the New York Stock Exchange in 2011, I think it was. Maybe 12. I don't remember exactly. It's in the opening video. Got invited back. My boss threw me on, they spent $4,000 on an airline ticket to fly me 1 day's notice from Seattle to New York. Went to Wall Street, rang the bell, went back to the airport, flew home. Same day. And then 2 weeks later, they laid me off. Reorganization. And you know what? I didn't know it at the time, but I do now. I got laid off. I was like number 4 or 5 on a 22, 23 person team. My buddy in California was like number 2. A few other guys I knew were like number 6 and 9 or something like that. Like we were a big chunk of why that sales team was having success. And they laid us off along with our brand spanking new national sales manager, regional sales manager. I mean, brand new. These guys quit jobs that they were at for years to come over and run this Class A sales team. And they laid all those guys off too. And you know what it was? We worked for a Baltimore company. They just a few years earlier purchased one of the largest bank's asset management divisions, which was us. We were Citigroup Asset Management. We covered Solomon Smith Barney and Primerica Financial Services and Citibank and every other little affiliate. And we were big. We were a big, big dog. But proprietary was kind of getting out of the... Funny how we were sold right before the beginning of the 2006, 7, 8, 9 real estate collapse. Weird, isn't it? Really weird. Yeah. So we got laid off for DEI. We were one of the first companies to do it. Got rid of all the white guys, all the top salespeople, replaced us with college kids who didn't look like us, I guess. That's hard to swallow. I got another job. Got another job at Deutsche. Working for a good guy. Working for a when you get to a certain level in sales, you want to work for somebody who knows what they're doing. You want to work for somebody who can show you a thing or two. You don't want to work for a boss. It's just like if you play a sport. If you play golf, let's say. I don't know why I'm saying golf, but you always want to play with people that are much better than you. I mean, the more you can play with somebody who's better than you, the better you will get, the faster you will get there. I proved that. If you play golf, if you play anything, any sport, do anything, and you don't get pushed, you don't have people around you who can push you to maybe beat them. It's easy to play with really good golfers and go, "Oh, I'm not going to beat you. I'm not even going to try." I get that out of more people. Oh, well, you're a 2 handicap. Well, there's no point we even play. No, you play every single time. You play hard, whatever you do, even if you get crushed. That's just how you get better. That's how it works. And I guess that year, 2011, I guess that's when the only thing I can think of is DEI and everything that we've kind of done since then was just, we don't need people in these roles that are good, experienced, competitive. We just want to fill these with a certain gender, a certain color, has to be a certain mix. And look what it's gotten us. Why doesn't everybody just try a little harder? Why doesn't everybody, we're all humans, all of us, every color, it doesn't matter what color you are, what race, what religion, it doesn't matter. If you go to the emergency room in a car accident and you're falling apart and you're traumatized, your body's ripped up, you're bleeding everywhere, do they need to check for, God, do we have a doctor for a white guy and a black guy? We got both of them here. No, it's the same anatomy. It's the same process for everybody. So why can't we, do you see how there's no good music, there's no new bands, there's no new movies, there's no good anything entertainment anymore? I finally have seen why, and like it makes total sense. It makes total sense. And you know why I'm being silenced on these platforms? I'm being silenced on these platforms because the powers that be don't want people to understand what happened, what's gone on, what's happening. It's kind of sad, but unfortunately, it's just really true.
Okay. Are we good? You got your seatbelt on? Seatbelt? Seatbelt!
Okay. I need people to subscribe, follow, like, comment. Every single time somebody goes in to comment or like or subscribe, any interaction with this content on YouTube mainly. Would love it on X also. But the only way I'm going to get any traction in the algorithm to ever be shown for any reason is if people interact with the videos. Maybe you don't want me to know it's you, or, you know, I know a lot of people around the country, you know, it's okay. I just say hi. This has got to get off the ground. There's a bigger, much more important purpose to this whole broadcast than just me creating a live show and turning it into a podcast and bringing guests on. It's way, way bigger than that. I'm almost done with the stuff I need to really show everybody what that is. I was going to kind of keep this, you know, more behind the scenes because I'm launching a financial services business, and it's kind of a big undertaking. You know, I may be biting off a little more than I can chew, but that's essentially what I've been doing my whole life. That's just how I've existed. Taking risk and just be as calculated as you can. So I got to be real careful. I got to be real careful what I'm like presenting as what would be an investment and what is just an opportunity. And I essentially want to give back over the next, I figure I got another 15 years. You know, I got decimated. I got totally decimated. I got laid off late in my career as a DEI firing. Tried to save my mom's life and launched a business with a group of people that I probably should have thought a little bit harder about how well I knew them. I thought they were family, and I thought there was loyalty, and I thought there was trust, and I thought all that was there. But I didn't, we figured out that politics divides us. We figured out that there was a difference with everybody. Well, I mean, I guess everybody in my town did. I live in a blue state. I'm not even a Republican, just an independent voter. I haven't even voted for the last 4 elections. I'm a little embarrassed about that, but that's kind of how it's been. You know, I've had a hard time with addresses changing and being registered properly. One year, my ex said she mailed in money for a ticket, and it never got to where it was going. It was $18 shy. She paid a round number. She said, "Yeah, I'll pay that ticket for you." I said, "Great, it's at this, da 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 da." She sent it in. She just sent a round number. She said she didn't have the total number, so she just made it a round one. And that round number was like $13 shy. So I had my license suspended. I had my right to vote taken away, and that was that year. So I didn't even vote. But yet here we are. Here we are, and we got to the 2015 election. I didn't vote that year either. I thought it was funny that Trump was in the running. I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. It's Ross Perot. I literally thought it was funny. I had a little bit of a stand-up comedy routine built around it. I was going to start doing a little stand-up comedy, which I may try at some point, see if that works. I don't know if there's much around here. I don't know if anybody can do anything funny in this town. I really don't. I mean, nobody has a sense of humor. Everybody is so serious, I guess, so serious that we have to shut people out of your life over politics. Women went toxic. I'll never be married again. Nope. Overdone. 0. It's just me and my dogs now. Me and my dogs. This is going to keep me super busy for a while. So there's just no point. I think we'll make it back, though. I do. I think we will make it back to a place where we will start talking again, where everybody will. Because you know what does that? I'll tell you exactly what does that. What does that is a real crisis. A war, big terror threat, something blows up. 9/11 is what did it for, my generation. We had 9/11. When 9/11 happened, it kind of felt like, everybody was relating it to Pearl Harbor. And it kind of felt like Pearl Harbor. It was like, wow, a lot of people died. We lost a lot of people on that day. And I think we may even find out now exactly why and what that was all about. Whatever you think about that, that's the only thing I don't understand. I mean, I do understand why voices like mine are being silenced. I do. You see it in the media every single day. And it's the Democratic Party does not have their version of a Joe Rogan or a popular social, pop icon type voice. They just don't. They don't have that presence with somebody to get a following like that. Do you ever wonder why? Why do you think that is? Why does the Democratic Party not have a popular figure that gets a massive following, like a Joe Rogan? I mean, I thought for a while, I was pretty sure that Joe Rogan was, I think he voted Democrat pretty much mainly for the most, for most of his life. Recently, he kind of Elon voted Democrat for most of his life. What happened, you think? I don't know. This is not a political show. This is not a political talk show. Like I'll end up sprinkling in, current events, stuff that's in the news, and right now this is kind of hot stuff, but I don't know, guys. We got to think about this. We really, really got to think about this. So anyway, first thing, sorry about that. That just gave you guys the double guns here this evening. Sorry, I'm a little on the just kind of lot going on side. A lot of change coming down the pike. This has to keep going. I got a job interview Thursday. I really don't want to have to take a job. I really don't. Everybody obviously needs a job, and it would be nice to have an income again, but I'm very, very, very motivated to get this off the ground and get these projects going. Because one, I'll probably make more money in the long run, but I will help more people. I am trying to do and get stuff off the ground where I will be raising capital that's all I've done for the last 15 years. That's what I did for the banks. That's what I did for Citigroup. It's what I did for Deutsche Bank. It's what I did for Legg Mason, is traveled the country and helped people raise money, convince people to give money either for retail investments, for, just where to put their money in their 401ks, their IRAs, or family offices, hedge funds, private equity guys, just raise money. That's what I did. This time, I want to raise money for projects that I know are going to be good for the community, for my state, for my hometown, for the generations behind me, to learn and to grow and to do things that I see coming. Everybody needs to learn how to fly an airplane or fly anything, because there's going to be flying vehicles that are coming up that are going to be so much fun. They're going to open up the door for so much. Everybody needs to learn how to fly. It'll be good for your confidence. It'll be good for trust me. If everybody knew how to fly, that would give you so much more confidence in your daily life. If everybody learned how to play golf and get kind of good at it, that would bring your confidence level up. We got to work on people's confidence, because if you're not confident, I finally figured out why there's so many narcissists in the world now, why YouTube is just bubbling over with new channels on narcissism. Well, it's because nobody has any confidence anymore. Nobody knows how to do anything. So everybody's pretending. And when you pretend that you have a skill, or if you're faking that you're experienced, if you're trying to get through life by putting up an ego of experience, confidence, and being sure of yourself, when you're not, that's called narcissism. And there's adolescents with it. There's men with it. There's women with it. It's not specific to black, white, brown, yellow. It's literally everybody. That's what I don't want. I think it's great. My son's going to college, goes for a couple years, but he better get his ass back home because I'm going to teach him how to drive heavy equipment, how to fly an airplane, how to navigate a 50-foot tugboat, how to run a crane, how to drive a bulldozer, how to frame a house, how to plant an orchard, how to build an irrigation system. Those are the kind of things that I want to get more people learning how to do. You don't need to do it as a career, but you need to just get out there and get your hands dirty and throw little confidence seeds. Eat a handful of confidence seeds. Figure stuff out. How it works. You know how your phone works. You know how your iPad works. You know how all that stuff works. You don't need to practice it anymore. We need to start making movies. By the way, little seed for maybe tomorrow's episode, maybe the day after, but I want to start looking for people who want to do some script, shorts, not like Saturday Night Live comedy skits, but I want to look for some people who want to do some production of sorts. It can be done remotely. You know, for a scene with dialogue, you got one camera angle and you got the other camera angle. You got one person on a couch, you got another person on a couch. You can essentially film a scene remotely just like this. If we figure it out, and I want to try to put together some examples. The Ackerman Alliance is going to be about learning and growing and expanding and understanding and communication. So if anybody ever thought about or knows anybody who, you know, if you wanted to get into acting, anything you do, whether we film it here or whether you film it somewhere else, anything you do on camera could turn into something bigger. You just have to get going and get doing it. So we're just going to start doing that stuff. That's what I always did. Just, if you want to figure something out, do it yourself. Just do it yourself. I guess that's, kind of what happened because I had a drunk mom. But when you got a drunk mom, you don't have anybody saying no, and you don't really have anybody watching you. So, yeah. Anyway, what I did want to talk a little bit about tonight, I had an experience this morning that I can't even believe it happened, but it happened. I had a full-on 100% lucid dream this morning. Totally. Figured out that I was dreaming. Once I figured out that I was dreaming, here's just kind of how it happened. I wake up at like 4:00 in the morning. Sometimes I end up like popping awake at 3, and there's no point in going back to sleep at 3 if my alarm's going to go off at 4. So sometimes I just wake up earlier. Well, that happened again this morning. Actually, today I was going to get up at 5. I woke up at 2:30, and I was kind of awake, and I was laying there for like an half hour, 45 minutes watching TV. But then I felt myself like, oh, geez, I think I might be going back to sleep. I think, oh no, but now it's like 3:30. I've been up for an hour. I'm thinking, geez, if I go to sleep now, if I literally fall asleep now, if I wake up at 5 in like an hour and a half, I'm going to be just super groggy. So I'm thinking about that. I'm kind of fighting, no, keep my eyes open. Keep my eyes open. Okay, no, close them. And Lester, my 5-year-old McNabb, jumps up on the bed, lays up against my leg. He likes to do it kind of early in the morning. I think he gets cold. So he's laying against my leg, and I'm laying there just thinking, oh shit, I don't want to fall back asleep. And suddenly I'm on like my childhood home. I'm in front of my childhood home on the front steps. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Jeez. Why am I at my mom's? And I try to sit down and I get super dizzy. Just like, whoa, why am I dizzy? This is weird. And then it just kind of goes black and then on. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to faint. And right when I thought I was going to faint,
it came to me. I went, wait a minute. I'm laying here with Lester lying on my leg, and I'm still standing in my mom's yard. And I thought to myself, but I'm dreaming. And I went, and I could feel Lester on my leg in the dream standing at my mom's house. And as soon as I felt that, I went, oh my God, lucid dream? If it's lucid, I should be able to. And I jumped up to go fly. And I did. I just straight up took off, just whoosh, up through the clouds, felt the wind, like literally felt the wind on my body, on my face, everything. Like it was unbelievable. I mean, it was a little bit like, it was a little abstract. The clouds were a little digitized. And it wasn't totally dark out when I started flying, but then when I got up kind of in the clouds, I looked down and I could see the lights of like the houses. And I mean, the harder, what I remember about it is the harder I would like push my arms out, like Superman fly, that was how you controlled the speed. Like the more you brought them in, the less, the slower you would go. And it was so freaking real. And I thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. How long is this going to last? And I remember going, with my arms and legs going like this. And I kept wondering in the dream, am I freaking my dog out? Is Lester going to bite me? Am I going to kick him? Am I moving? I don't know. But it lasted. I mean, I flew around for a while. Ended up in a hotel where there was like a political convention going on, and my sister was staying in one of the rooms, and there was a bunch of people in the room. And then she ended up kind of saying something really rude to me, and I was like, oh yeah. And I flew out and then I ended up waking up, and like, it was unreal. So lucid dreams must be the key to lucid dreams. And my son told me this after talking to him. He'd actually seen a few videos on it where you have a lucid dream. First of all, I heard you have to identify. What I'd always heard about lucid dreams is you have to identify when you're asleep. So an old friend years ago used to say he would practice having lucid dreams by always wearing a watch and checking the time on his analog watch like 100 times a day, over and over, and just get into the habit of doing that. Because supposedly in a lucid dream or in a dream, you'll never see the time or what time it is. So you wouldn't be able to see your watch. So your key would be then, if you look down at your wrist and your watch is not on, then you recognize it. I recognized it because I had just been slowly dropping into REM and up and then back. And so it must be easier to trigger them when you're really super tired still and your body's trying to put you back to sleep. Like you woke up in the middle of the night and you're trying to go back to sleep, but you fight it a little bit. So I don't know, but oh my God, if I could figure out a way to make that process work every time, unbelievable. So realistic. So unbelievably realistic. God, I wish YouTube would let this stream unleash this stream so I could talk to more people and figure that out. I did get a couple of people who've reached out. One girl went to the same high school I went to, a few years older than me, and we're going to try to make a connection and just get a conversation going here. I'd like to practice bringing people into the broadcast mid-show, and again, the whole point of doing this is I'd love to be able to do it all on my own, not have a producer. I saw Don Lemon the other day he was clapping back at Megyn Kelly, I guess, for kind of calling, God, what's the lady's name who just got fired from CNN? Joy? Yeah, I think that's her name. Well, he was defending her. Like, why did she lose her show? And I remember he wanted to pull up a video, and he's got his podcast that he does now because he got fired too. And he's going, play video number 4. Guys, producer. So he has a remote producer. You know, he doesn't have a producer in his house with him. But I don't want to have to pay a producer. I don't want to have to pay anybody. I want to be able to keep doing this so we can stick to the project. Because this would, you know, this essentially should be an hour a day. They might go longer if we get into more conversation and they might go longer if YouTube actually lets it out, lets me get to my audience. I do have close to 1,000 subscribers, but I haven't heard from one of my subscribers in 2 years, not one, where, well, I was still able to stream where people saw my stuff. I'd get more comments and stuff than I knew what to do with. Now just zero. But, oh well, it is what it is, right?
Well, let's just say I'm your typical American kid. If typical means growing up insecure, stuttering through sentences, dodging a critical mom, and watching dad hide in the shadows. High school kicked me out 2 weeks early for leaving campus with my girlfriend. One of these girls is her. And the closest I got to college was throwing a touchdown pass to my buddy in the 5th grade. I was lucky to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. They were great. Learned to use my words to navigate life, just like Grandpa said. Make friends, make money. I experimented, took things apart. Guess I learned the old-fashioned way by just making mistakes.
Hey!
I've sold wine to grocery stores, driven heavy equipment, caddied on the PGA Tour, was in a band, even went to LA in my early 20s to give acting a shot. Pretty sure I can fly anything with wings. Worked in sales most of my life, got recruited to Wall Street, and one day I even rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a crazy ride. Married for 18 years, married for 18 months, divorced twice, and both of the women are in this picture. And I'll guarantee you, divorce during the Trump years was not fun. Lawfare sucks. But thank goodness I had a woman come to my rescue. And she's in this picture. Maybe it's just me, but I truly believe that humans can accomplish anything if they just try without the fear of failing. Most people stop before they even start. If you believe in leading by example, doing what's right by standing up for those who need the help, but most importantly, if you feel like you have the skills to spot a fraud, then this might be for you. This is a place where action speaks louder than words, where leadership isn't about titles or education. It's about showing up, execution, and understanding that no matter how experienced you are, you always have something to learn. Life's challenges only postpone your dreams. They don't erase them. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance.
We don't need no education.
So, what comes next? Well, got to get through this month. We all got to get through this month. And we got to stop the toxic talk. It's pushed everybody into the most unhealthy place. I know it's the most unhealthy place I've seen everybody I know. Everybody I've known. Everybody's just unhappy. And if you're happy, congratulations. Good job. If you stayed happy through this, I'll tell you what, being canceled is no fun because you don't really know what happens. Now, obviously, if you're a movie star, if you're, somebody who's got a popular following online, or you've got a bunch of income that suddenly just gets canceled because somebody takes it away from you. But being canceled, that'll change you. That'll change you on the inside. what it did for me, which is, I'm almost kind of glad. It made me go in like inside and just think, assess, process, and just analyze everything that's happened to me in the last 10 years and why, and backtrace, and just really has helped me put an understanding to so much about myself, about relationships, about other people, about, when you've dealt with this, like I now can spot a fraud, like just like that. Spot somebody who's, insecure and just using their ego and their narcissism to try to get their way. I've always had a tendency to stand up for other people. If I see somebody getting mistreated, just as an example, what you learn to do in the industry I was in, you learn to be able to communicate with anybody. The reason I got the opportunity that I got and excelled at the job that I was at, there's a lot of narcissists in the financial services industry. People who, they know a lot of people, they can talk a good talk, but really there's just a lot of people who can do that. And they have somebody else like organize everything else for them, and they just get paid to be your friend. Sorry to blow the whistle on it. A lot of financial advisors really don't know much about finance, managing money, when to buy, when to sell. They're not traders. They're kind of like car salesmen that you keep for a long period of time. There are some great ones. There are some amazing financial advisors, like truly honorable, like good, like generational, like good people. There's not many left though. That generation's dying out. That generation, the baby boomers, my parents' generation, I don't know if there's any high quality baby boomers. Is there? Does anybody know if there's any high quality baby boomers out there as far as just moral character and honorable people? I don't know. There have been a few. A lot of them, the ones that I know died. The good people that I know, they died, and their family just pillaged their estate. Everybody tried to get as much money as they could, and no more relationships. Happened to my families, both my families. My dad's side, which was right wing. My mom's side, which I think was left wing. Not like woke left, but just, it was bipolar. I had one family on the conservative right and one family which I never knew, like specifically, but the way that my aunt just like totally disregarded her duties as fiduciary and assumed that I was like some Trump supporting right-wing conservative. She eliminated me from the estate, not completely, but completely, and made sure that I lived in a financial hardship. That was kind of the beginning of my cancellation. People called me names. So we're in an unhealthy place. And I think we can get out of that unhealthy place. But the only way that works is if you go inside. If you're able to say, I am sorry. I was wrong. If you take anything out of anything I ever say on this, if you can figure out how to say, God, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I guessed wrong. I flipped a coin. That was it. If you can figure out how to do that and mean it, your life will be so much more productive, much easier, less anxiety. But if you are the kind of person who, I'm prideful, I'm never wrong, I don't say I'm sorry, That's not strong. That's not good. You're going to get cancer. You're going to get something that, like some, like malignant tumor. You got to be able to do that. More of us need to just figure out, what are we going to do to get back on this communication wagon? People that I thought, there are people, since I started broadcasting now, it's getting close to a month now that I've been doing this, and I've got the momentum. As soon as I figure out, maybe I have to get an attorney and like actually file a suit against YouTube. I don't know. I don't believe there's no possible way they're not silencing what it is I'm doing, and a lot of other people. And until we get back to a country that is fair, equal, or if we can't get back to just being fair, at least I just want to talk about why it's not fair. If me losing my job and eliminating, white men from opportunity, if you walk into I at least want to know that if I'm walking into a building to get in line to do something with 100 other people, I at least want to know that I'm walking in with a handicap, with I'm already 10 points down. If I play one-on-one basketball with somebody, I have to start 5 points in the hole because I'm a white guy. Let's at least just talk about it. Let's at least just say what's happening. Because the sheer amount of gaslighting, which gaslighting is just when there's a lie being perpetrated, when there's something that you don't want to believe. Right now it's happening like at levels that I've never seen, that I'm hoping psychologists use this as opportunity to study, that there's so many people just, nope, what I'm seeing with my eyes, I don't believe. And I have heard the wackiest excuses for not believing what their own eyes are seeing. That's the gaslighting. The continuing to call Trump Hitler and a fascist and the calls for suicide. That is not the United States of America. We are finding, I actually heard somebody go on TV the other day and call, it was crazy. They called finding waste, fraud, and people abusing money from the government. Finding that was corrupt. Like that was the corruption that was being perpetrated, was finding that. I just need somebody to explain it to me. Why is it that certain people are allowed or should be allowed to steal hundreds of billions of dollars? And where is it going? What is it doing? How much of that stolen money, that off the books money, is baked into my stock market that I'm supposed to make quality investment decisions for my clients based upon the knowledge and the open data and the laws say I'm supposed to be able to know? If I'm making investment decisions on things that aren't real, how much of it isn't real? How much more risk am I taking? Are we on the verge of a total and utter collapse of the markets if Trump lays off too many people? If he pulls this money and it stops going to certain people, is that going to blow things up? Is that going to make things better? We can't even get to that conversation because nobody's admitting that there's even a problem. And every time in my life I have seen somebody perpetuate a gaslighting parade like this, it's never been about stuff this big. This is all national, above my head shit. So I've only seen, gaslighting and lies, when it comes to like family stuff and friends and, toxic relationships that you happen to get wrapped up in every once in a while. When somebody goes this hard with a lie, they're hiding something every time. Tell me that isn't true in your own families. That when somebody just goes like, you know, when you go see somebody, or, you know, you come out, you know, you get in the car with your wife, you're like, whoa, did you hear that? It's like, what's going on there? Yeah, geez, I don't know. Something's going on there. We better just get out of here. And is that the way we're supposed to treat it? I can't walk away from somebody if I see them being harmed. I can't. I get like, I interject. I try to throw in a, hey, is everything okay? Can we help? Is there something we can do? Like, you shouldn't talk that way, or you shouldn't do that. Last time I did that, I was helping a friend find money. Him and his wife couldn't figure out why they were always running out of money. You know, he was playing on the PGA Tour, and he had to spend money to go out and play like 5 more tournaments, and they kept borrowing money, and it just kept disappearing. So I helped him find that money. And one night we're sitting at the kitchen table, and I start asking a couple questions, and, you know, my buddy answers, and his wife just kind of comes over the top and starts calling him a dummy, starts calling him an idiot. And I went, what? Huh? What? Huh? Where'd that come from? That's interesting. And they just went up. Red flags went up. And it was like the instant she started sounding like that, my brain went to, oh God, she's stealing it. 2 days later, I asked him to log into his bank account. He said he didn't know how to log into the bank account. And I just went, oh, you don't know how to log into your bank account? Oh yeah, well, she takes care of all that. I just play golf. Well, see what I'm talking about? Her and her friend and my wife, they all collaborated with each other to cancel me. So it's weird. Lawfare. People distracting from their crimes, stealing money, doing things to harm people, while pointing at somebody else, calling them a domestic abuser or a racist or a Nazi. Oh, look at them. Nazi. Distraction. Don't fall for it. It's real. Toxic people exist. They typically drink. Drinking does not make a toxic person less toxic. So be careful. But we can pull this off. We really, really can pull this off. I promise. It's going to get better. It's going to feel better. And like this, follow this, please send it out. I'm going to do one final just kind of hoorah attempt at, I'll just keep broadcasting to 10 people. Eventually, I think it'll get out. X claims to be totally open, but I don't think so. We'll do a couple tests on X next. I don't have a lot of followers, but the numbers just don't jive. So like this, follow it, subscribe, get some others to the party. I'm going to shoot for 6 o'clock on weeknights for a while, unless I should go later, unless anybody lets me know otherwise. You can get into the rooms. You can get in and get a room link so you can come and join. You got to go to AckermanAlliance.com and just register your email. You don't have to pay for anything. You just register and you'll get a confirmation that you're registered. And then contact me in the chat. You can get a link. I'm going to hopefully put out a video that I will be sending directly to all of my contacts, whether it be by text message, email, direct message. I have to bypass all of the algorithmic run distribution systems because somebody put me on a list. Because I guess I just know too much. And I don't know, maybe I should be happy. Maybe I should feel proud. I don't know. But have a good night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay. Now we're good. You got your seatbelt on? Seatbelt. Seatbelt.